think the Supreme Court will probably still support the Affordable Care, just because I think the principle of it's probably is good, whether the way it's written, and my understanding is it's, what, 4,000 pages or some crazy amount. So I just read the Steve Jobs book, and every simplicity is sort of was his theme. I mean, he tried to create simple products, and he believed in very, simple, somewhat simple ideas. His ideas were amazing, but I'm just saying it amazes me when you come up with something that's, thousands of pages or hundreds of pages, and we're trying to put a system into place. I don't know how you can do it. I mean, it's obviously so complicated, and there's so many exceptions and inclusions and variations that it just gets too hard to do. So I think just hearing that tells me you have to somehow simplify it, and whether that is a tiered system with some universal coverage, which in some way this is sort of mandating. That's potentially what it's, where it's going to. The rules and regulations, I think we have to be careful. There might be a baseline, like saying this is the, baseline coverage, certain catastrophic, certain primary care, certain preventable type stuff that would be important that people have. So that, but beyond that, I think then I would let the free market system sort of determine, if people want to add to that. They probably can't subtract. So again, there's a sort of baseline level of coverage, which makes some sense, and then adding to it would be something that potentially they can do through the, public sector, if that's provided, or it's a plan that's offered. But I think you can also have the private sector competing, and let that competition hopefully potentially dictate the price and the quality and things that is provided. So I'm definitely a promoter of the free market system, what it's going to come to. It's more, not so much just how we're going to pay for it, but just making sure we provide it in an efficient way, and it's not just another, sort of government-run program that goes, starts with a good intention, but just kind of runs amok and becomes very expensive and doesn't really do what we were hoping to do. I think what's going to happen is, if the 50 million people or whoever that now have insurance or can go to physicians, there's already what I consider a relative physician shortage, meaning most physicians are working pretty hard, taking care of probably close to the maximum number of patients that they can, particularly from a primary care standpoint. I'm kind of a specialist, so they may not have quite that saturation in all specialties. But all of a sudden, if you open the floodgate and say, here's 50 million more people that need primary care, and obviously all kinds of care beyond primary care, that's going to really, be a supply and demand issue.